Hello, my name is Antonio Edward, and today I'm going to discuss how you can set up your customized login page for Office 365. And I think this will be something nice to have, especially when you have an account where your business is constantly changing and you could change the look of your login page every single time. And I'll give you examples of how you can use that to increase productivity in your workspace, depending on what your business is. So, as you saw right here, and this is something I want to point out real quick, just a little off topic. To get to Office 365, it doesn't have to be hard. Just think about Office. So, when you type in your URL, just type in office.com. It takes you to the general sales site that talks about Office 365 support page and all that. But the main thing you see here is a sign in link. If you don't see it here, use the sign in link up here. So I click on sign in. If you signed in before, of course, it shows you that you're already signed in. So before in the stores, all the usernames, let's say you have multiple logins or multiple Office 365 accounts, you can it will show you all those accounts here. Now notice what happens. This is the standard background, as you can tell. This is just a typical background. It's a mountain area. It looks like Brazil or I don't know. People who know geography tell me where that's at, and maybe they talk about it here. I don't know. They don't. All right, so let's click on my name and look what happens. Isn't that awesome? A picture that I uploaded. And you can upload just about any picture, but make sure that when you upload a picture, it's a 1920 by 1080 picture, which will, for the most part, fill up most screens. Now, for some people who have those vertical screens, it will probably look something like this. So, and the left and right sides will be cut off. So you notice that my forward logo up here, it will be cut off because it fills to the screen. So there's some disadvantages to anybody who has their screen in a vertical fashion. But notice how responsive it is. When you log in on a mobile device, you lose that picture. Okay, so just to let you know, this is what it'll look like on a mobile device. On an iPad or Android tablet, it's a little bit wider, so you do have some of the picture here. If you're looking at it on you know, using the portrait mode. And if you turn it and use it landscape mode, then you'll probably see more of the picture, but you don't see as much. It'll probably cover up your main topic of the picture. So for the most part, what you might want to do is put most of your information in this area here, where my mouse is at, and over here. And then fill in or, empty space can be on the outside over here so that most of your data on the picture is right here. But that's not the main point. If you can, if you have a picture of your building, and let's say you have a storefront and you got a really great picture, you had a professional photographer that took pictures of your building, that can be your storefront or your headquarters building. You take a really beautiful picture and you put that right here, maybe with the sign to your business over here somewhere, so that people can see that every time they log in. So I'm going to log into my account real quick. I don't care if anybody sees my email address. Of course, when people log in, if they're employees, for the most part, by default, it will go to the Office 365 homepage, which looks something similar to this. Okay. Administrators usually will be logged in to the administrator portal, which is called the Office 365 Admin Center. And so this is where you go. But if you're not there, just click on the app launcher. This is these 9 dots in the upper left. You click on the app launcher, click on admin, and it will take you straight here. So the first place you want to go to set up your awesome login page, right, is on the left hand side, you got all these options. Click on where it says admin centers. Scroll down just a little bit. and get to where it says Azure Active Directory. That is the quickest way to get there, to tell you the truth. And so you click on that, it automatically logs you into a different system. This is not really a part of Office 365. However, a lot of services in Office 365 uses Azure. But Azure is a different product, but you can use your Office 365 login to get into it. But if you ask me, this is probably the best way to get there. Okay. If you notice, it opens up a different tab. So you have your Office homepage, your Admin Center, and then you got the Azure tab. So if you were trying to get back to the Admin Center, you won't be able to do that here. You just go to the previous tab and do that there. All right. So now we're in the dashboard of the Azure Center. And basically gives you a lot of good information here, but let's go to the Active Directory, the Azure Active Directory. All right, so you notice you have a lot of options here. And there's a lot of options that you may want to look at and say, okay, what about this? What about that? Take a look at that because you can make it where your employees could do their own password resets. And I think that's something that you may want to look into. That's a whole different ball game right there. So let's talk about company branding. And then you want to click on edit. All right, so after you click on edit, it tells you what size that you need for each of your graphics. And you want to pay attention to this because when you develop your graphics, make sure, or if you have a graphic designer, make sure you give them these specs. Maybe take a screenshot of this page or write it down. And if you notice these little 2 bits, I think you call these 2 bits, right? They're called 2 bits. It tells you a little bit more information about what what is going on here and how you can use each and every one of these functionalities. And so this is a 240 by 240, 240 by 240. So you can upload the same graphic if you want to for each of these items. This one right here requires a more horizontal graphic, 280 by 60. It could be a JPEG or a PNG. The reason if you notice, my little graphic here looks kind of bad is because it's a PNG file with, in PNG, you're able to do transparencies. Here, it will look bad, but once it shows up on the actual website, it actually looks pretty good. So kind of ignore how it looks here as long as your original graphic is good. Also pay attention to the file size. If you have a low compress graphic file, the file size will be a little bit higher. You may need to compress it just a little bit so that it looks pretty. Now notice on my login page, let me bring up my login page again so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so on my login page, if you notice, there's a little bit of text that's there, okay? You're only going to see it after you log in. This text right here, right? Well, let me show you how it looks if you don't have this set up. So this is the standard look if you don't have that set up. This is another tenant of mine. Oops. Okay. So you notice that the text is not there and the standard background is right here too, because this is a different account altogether. It's a different tenant and nothing's customized here at all. And there's no information sitting right here either. But if I go back and type in the tenant that I did set this up on, it brings in my customized background. But this is what I want to show you here is this little bit of text. You can put, and it tells you how and what you can do. This right here contains that information right there. So what you may want to do is go into Microsoft Word. If you want to, this is Notepad, I know, but you go into Microsoft Word and you type out your little statement. And it says here, appears at the bottom of the Azure directory sign-in page. This experience is on Windows 10. Use this to convey instructions, tips, etc. Anyone can see your sign-in page, so don't put any sensitive information here because if you look at it, a person can type in an email address and they can see all that information here. Notice that I put the home of the name of my company. This is my wife's company. This is my production studio and any partners of Shiz. I have other subsidiaries that work under Shiz. If you're not a member of Shiz or affiliates, do not enter. Contact info@shiz.tv for troubleshooting. So anybody who logs in and they need some help, this is they can just copy and paste that email address, email me through their personal email, and I can help them out. Plus, they also have my phone number too, but I won't put my phone number here because I don't want to get calls from just anybody. All right, so that's the sign-in page, right? So notice that that information can be entered here. Oh, there's something else I want you to see too, which I think you may be interested in. Okay, so someone tries to log in with their company email address that you assign to them, and what you're going to notice here is this right here, i.e., what that looks like is when they type in fact, let me show you a link. All right, so I want to show you a link that I have pre-programmed into a using a short URL. And if you notice my URL there says SEAEUS/shiz/mm. And so I know that's kind of stupid right there, but basically see this right here? It gives people an idea of what their username should look like, right? And so when they type in their username, it gets replaced with, of course, that text. Well, that won't show up if someone simply types portal.office.com and they will get the standard, which is someone at example.com. How does that work? How did they get that? Well, this is something that you can do as a short URL or a redirect on your domain. And so let me show you some ideas that you can use to make it easier for your employees to log in, right? So that login is set up through a short URL that I use called yours. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it's called yours, right? And it's a program that you can install on any PHP server with a MySQL or SQL database, right? And so I want to show you what this URL looks like because I think this is something that you may find very handy and how it works. So you look at this right here. This is very simple, right? This URL, outlook.com. Okay, let me show you how that looks in a kind of a clearer way. This is the URL. Basically, you take the URL outlook.com, put a slash in it, and then you put your domain name. So you can put any domain name you want. What that does, it brings up your customized page. So notice if I take this and put in that, it automatically brings up my beautiful background screenshot there. And that information that I have in this section here automatically shows up. There it is. Plus that text shows up right away. And so they can sign in with their username and then sign in with their login. I got two-factor authentication, so I got to approve it. And of course, it logs me in. And using that link that I showed you will also take you to your email directly. Okay. A lot of spam there, I know. So I'm going to show you something else too. I think you're going to like this. If you don't want to log people directly to their email, but log into Office 365 instead, let me show you another trick that you can use. Okay, see this right here where it says realm? So let me bring up this URL here. This URL here will take people to their, you can put an S there, will take people to the home page, whether it's the admin center or the office page. By default, it will either go to the admin center if they're an admin, or it will take them to the office homepage. And so you can use that in order to log in. So I just wanted to show you that because this is how you can get that data in there if you have them go directly to your domain. This picture right here, this is the big fat picture. It looks distorted here. This is only a preview. But if you upload a 1920 by 1080p picture, less than 300 kilobytes, PNG or JPEG, um, this will be the picture that will be seen behind the sign-in dialog box. And so that's basically it. And then once you hit save, now just keep in mind, it does take a few hours for that to be seen. So you're not going to be able to, like, say you change a picture, you're not going to be able to look at it right away by going to incognito mode of your web browser and typing in a username and you see it right away. It doesn't happen like that. It takes a little bit of time. So expect it to take about 4 hours to kick in. If you wanted to upload a new picture before your employees come in on Monday morning, let's say you do a picture once a week, maybe like employee of the month picture or something, and that's another good use for that. Again, uh, make sure you do it like on Sunday night or maybe even Friday night before people go home. It's like before you go home for the day on Friday, upload that new picture, and then when people come in on Monday, they will see it. So that's an idea, and they'll see it right away. Now, if it is a plate of my picture and it's like a full head here, make sure you off center the picture. So when you take the picture with your digital camera, put their head over here somewhere. And so that it's not covered up by this login screen. Okay. Now, some ideas for redirecting so that they see that right away for the username when they pull up the site. Now, keep in mind, this is for people who don't use Active Directory synchronization um, or don't have single sign-in. Okay, single sign-in, it will log people in automatically because they're signed in to Active Directory synced account. If you use Office 365, you don't have Active Directory, you don't have group policies or none of that, stuff, then this is something that you may want to set up for your employees so that they don't have to remember or they don't have to use favorites. Like I have here, see all my favorites? These are my favorites to most of the services in Office 365. But if you don't have that, okay, then this is how you do that. So I'm going to set up a redirect in Office 365 or in GoDaddy. You can do this with most DNS providers. GoDaddy is the easiest, in my opinion. Okay. Um, Yeah, if you go with anybody, please go with GoDaddy. It's just so much easier. But if you go with someone else, Network Solutions, they're pretty good. My website is hosted on DreamHost. They're okay as well. So as far as DNS hosting is concerned. All right, so I'm going to click on Manage DNS on one of these domain names. And of course, your www.yourdomain.com and yourdomain.com is for your website. But this is what you can do to help people direct themselves to the sign-in page that you set up so nicely, right? So you click on, um, let's say, staff, okay, at yourdomain.com. You put that here. Make sure that you come in here and remove the https:// because it's already here. Okay, and there it is. You can preview that if you want to, just to make sure it works. Yep. So after you preview it and you set it up, you click on save. And this will take some time to set up, right? So we'll have to wait a little bit. We can go somewhere else while we wait for that record to propagate. So then, or you can set up a short URL using some type of URL shortener. I advise this for any company. Set up some sort of URL shortener that you can use. And what that does is if you have a very long domain, let's say like this YouTube link, I have a link where if you look at the bottom left here, like look down here when I mouse over it, over here somewhere, um, that short URL will direct people to that site. And see how it shows up with the short URL. There's the long URL, and then there's the YouTube page. This right here is not going to be easy to remember. So using short URLs is something that you can do. Notice that I have one for the Office 365 login page. It's a short URL that takes people to the Office 365 page. Okay. Um, let's see here. I wonder if it's set up already. GoDaddy doesn't take a long time. It was another reason I like GoDaddy because they're rather quick with their domain names. Okay, it looks like it's set up already. So watch what happens if I type in staff.yourdomain. Oh, um, it'll work if I type in it correctly. See how that worked? Now you see what I did. You saw what I did, right? So you have HTTP :// and that URL. Let me see, bring up my little text thing. Looks like this, which in turn will take people to this, right? Which in turn will take people to this login page. So there you go. And so you could tell people, hey, it's staff.yourdomain.com or .net or whatever it is, and they press enter. Let me do that again. Okay, and they press enter, and it takes them right to the login page with the picture already in place, and they can just log in, type in their password, and they're good to go. It's really that easy. Okay. So think about that when you want to set up your awesome company branding page for your Office 365 account. Well, that's all I got. I took 24 minutes to explain all this. It could have been quicker, but I tend to ramble, so deal with it. All right, so you have a good one today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.